Welcome to the Barclays Premier League pre-match show on ESPN. Hello and welcome to the biggest game left in this English Premier League season. Manchester United against Manchester City, the meeting of the top two. In the last campaign, of course, City won the title from United with the very last kick of the season. This time around, United are on the very verge of reclaiming their crown. But first, they have to meet City again in the latest edition of a rivalry that's produced some of the greatest games in Premier League history.
Kanchelskis goes forward and could make it three, and has. Marcel, lovely turn, super goal. Giovanni who strikes that beautifully, and touched on and in. Benjani. Here's Rooney, and still. Bellamy bearing down, letting fly. Wonderful, wonderful goal. Michael Owen wins it. Rooney. Wonderful! What a goal! And what a time! In what a play! Balotelli! The T-shirt says it all. Here's Checo. Couldn't be six, could it? It could, you know. Resounding header. It's the captain. That's all company. And Van Persie may well have won that Manchester derby.
Always a fantastic atmosphere, and there is tonight as Manchester United meet Manchester City, the cross-town rivalry. It's a fierce one. At times, it's a brutal one. City winning the title last year, but United are very, very close to regaining the crown this time around, and they'll want to silence their noisy neighbours once and for all this season. As for Manchester City, well, it's been a pretty meek defence of the title, and they're a long way behind, but they can claim some consolation and maybe wipe the smiles from United's faces, well, for tonight at least. It's a rivalry that's been going on since 1894. Manchester United against Manchester City. Stand back, light the blue touch paper for the latest edition. United are 15 points clear in the title race. If they win here tonight, they would just be 4 points away from regaining their crown. Manchester City playing for their pride, and believe it, this game is never meaningless. It's a huge one, particularly around here. And joining me, as always, the former Liverpool, Real Madrid and England star, Steve McManaman. Macca to me, and, well, everybody else, really. Great atmosphere when these two meet. Always. You played in one of these right at the end of your career, didn't you? What's it like?
Yeah, it's a wonderful atmosphere, Ian. You can imagine a full house here, 75,000. Screaming fans, wanting your best for your team. You know, it's a different type of game tonight, really, because we all feel like Manchester United. I've got the league sewn up, really, so it's a bit of personal pride for the Manchester City boys. They got a wonderful result here last year, but they lost the first encounter at the Etihad Stadium early on in the season. United are going for a maximum point score. Manchester City, you know, have to score goals, have to win a game, because they're playing for the Champions League spot themselves, because Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham are hot on the tails, and they can't allow any more mistakes.
Manchester United, there are the players warming up. We'll bring you the team news, the vital team news, in just a moment or two. But of course, when you think about this fixture, you go back, don't you, to last season. Manchester City, there are the players just getting ready. They'll desperately want to win this after what's been a bit of a disappointing campaign. But remember last season, that final day, United won at Sunderland. They thought they'd got the title, and Sergio Aguero stole it away from them. Just amazing stuff it was, and I think ever since that happened, United have had the eye of the tiger.
Yeah.
In plain language, they've wanted it a bit more this season, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, and I think they won the battle of the two teams early on in the season, and the fact that, you know, Manchester City and Manchester United both wanted Robin van Persie. He chose Manchester United, and since then he's been a star. Certainly early on in the season he was a revelation, scoring lots of goals, propelling Manchester United to the top of the league. And unfortunately for Manchester City, they just haven't been able to stay on the coattails of Manchester United. So they've certainly won the long drawn out season, haven't they, Man United?
One of the big talking points in the build-up to this game has been the form of Robin van Persie, who's been on a bit of a scoring drought. In fact, the worst he's had since he arrived in England. Some people even wondering, would he be in the starting lineup? Well, the man who can tell us with all the team news is Daryl Curry.
Ian, thank you very much. Indeed, the headline team news tonight is that Robin van Persie starts up front despite that scoring drought, and he partners Wayne Rooney for the first time in 3 games. Those two played together. Here is the United team in full then. If Rooney scores tonight, he becomes the all-time leading marksman in this derby. Rio Ferdinand partners Phil Jones in the centre of defence with Evans and Vidic unavailable. Ryan Giggs plays in his 37th derby and starts in central midfield. Raphael returns after a thigh strain. As for City, they make 2 changes from the side that defeated Newcastle last time out. Edin Dzeko, who has a great scoring record v United, drops out, as does Julian Lescott. In comes Matija Nastasic at centre-half, and James Milner too. Carlos Tevez is up front, Aguero only on the bench. So United have a big lead in the title race, but maybe have a score to settle, because last season City came here and made history.
The T-shirt says it all. And Balotelli beyond Evans, down he goes. Manchester United, already a goal down, are now a man down as well. Balotelli! And Manchester City are turning Old Trafford blue. It's 3, no doubt now about the outcome. Fletcher, lovely goal. That was Barry, and Lescott, and Dzeko turns it in. It's Silva, and it's 5! Here's Dzeko. Couldn't be 6, could it? It could, you know. A seismic day in English football. Regime change, power shift, call it what you like. Truly spectacular and humiliating for Manchester United.
The City fans are still wearing the T-shirts. A notorious day for Manchester United, who are absolutely stunned. Nobody treats them like that here, and Sir Alex Ferguson will remember it and will want no repeat here or anything like it.
He won't want any repeating. He certainly won't want any repeat of the way they capitulated in the last 10 minutes of the game. Once they got it back to 3-1 and got the score down to some sort of respectability, they just went gung-ho, thinking they were going to score again and again and maybe get the equaliser, which in part is fine, but they left themselves so open at the back. They conceded more goals, and United have never been beaten like that in the history of the Premier League, in the history of the league, certainly in the top division. So Sir Alex Ferguson was smarting after that, and he certainly wants to put it right today.
Yeah, but I think Manchester City, you know, a lot of things have not quite gone their way this season. It has been a bit of a meek defence of the title.
Yes,
but they can give their fans something to really shout about in the bragging rights by winning here. I mean, they're going to go for it, aren't they, here?
Well, Ian, they have to win today to give the fans something, because it has been a poor title defence. Remember, they won the league last year, albeit they won on the last game of the season, but they've done the double over United last year. And remember the internal problems they had with Carlos Tevez and Mario Balotelli last year made it such more of a victory. So this year, the fact that they've gone down in the Champions League with a bit of a whimper, they brought players in and now they're complaining that the signings they brought in are not strong enough. Well, that's only one person's fault, isn't it? It's the manager's fault. So it has been a bit of a meek defence this year of the title.
Yeah, well, one of the people they did want to bring in, or Roberto Mancini did, was Robin van Persie, but United got him. Is it too simplistic to say that his form, say, before the end of January, has kind of decided this thing? United pulled themselves way clear.
No, because, you know, he's been a wonderful form for Manchester United, certainly early on in the season, propelled them forward, because early on in the season, Ian, Man United were conceding goals. It's a different type of United now. We were very strong at the back. So he was winning them games virtually on his own. His link-up play with Rooney were excellent. But the fact that Manchester United got him and Manchester City didn't shouldn't mean anything about how the league goes on, because Manchester City still went into the transfer market, bought lots of players, and unfortunately the players that they bought have been poor, haven't they? They haven't really, apart from Nastasic, really, but the likes of Javi Garcia, you know, Maicon, the players you can imagine who they brought in haven't really set the world on fire this year.
We're talking about Van Persie having a problem. He hasn't scored for 9 games. He's still got 23 this season, and he's still the second top scorer in the Premier League with 19.
To be very honest, that doesn't bother me in the slightest, because he's done his scoring at the beginning of the season at the important time. And if Rooney chips in now, or Welbeck chips in, or Hernandez chips in, that's what a squad's all about. So he's done his part for me, Robin Van Persie.
So that's Robin Van Persie. City didn't get him. How are they going into tonight's game? Here's the assistant manager, David Platt, downstairs with Darryl now.
Ian, thank you very much. David, good to see you. What's the mindset ahead of this game?
Win a football match. That's all we do when we go into any football match. It's regardless of whether it's mathematically possible or mathematically impossible. It's totally and utterly irrelevant. We go into football matches to win them.
Roberto Mancini said this week he thinks some teams come here and play with fear, but given the league position, can you come and play completely without fear tonight and go for the win?
It's got nothing to do with league position, nothing to do with any points difference. I think what Robbie's on about is that you can go and you can take Manchester United on a level playing field. We feel as though we've been able to do that for 2 or 3 years now. It's a difficult place to come to, but we've never had any fear about them in the last 2 or 3 years.
In your preparation for this game, your analysis before the match, how different do you think this United team are from the one that you came here and convincingly beat last season?
Well, last year counts for nothing anyhow. I mean, basically the game went as it went. We played very well on the day. They had a player sent off. We managed to score 3 goals in the last few minutes, but all that's history now. In terms of any analysis, it's not a case of whether it's a different Manchester United team or not. The fact of the matter is that they've got bags of goals in their team. They've shown that this season. They can win football matches because they have a mentality to do so. And as I say, it's always a difficult place to come to, but it's not a place that we're frightened of coming to, and we feel as though we're capable of winning a football match.
David, thanks for your time and good luck.
Pleasure, thank you.
So that's David Platt, the assistant manager of Manchester City. City have only won here twice since 1974. And 74 was the day that Dennis Law, a United legend who joined City, backheeled a goal which, well, effectively sent Manchester United down. Different days, but all part of the folklore of this fixture.
Well, of course, it's a derby and we know that, but it's such a historic derby, it's such a big derby that people will always talk about various things, and of course people will hark back to the Dennis Law game. They'll talk about, you know, Manchester City's victory last year because it was such a big victory, and games like that, you know, span generations and generations, don't they?
United, of course, have won 14 out of 15 here this season. Only Tottenham have won here in the Premier League. One of the problems City have had, of course, in the last week, it's Carlos Tevez, been in great goal-scoring form. He's had this court case, driving while disqualified. He had to do some cleaning work yesterday as part of his community service order.
Yeah, we saw him yesterday in his high-visibility vest so he wouldn't get into any trouble. Cleaning storage compartments in a local area.
Do him the world of good, won't it?
Yeah, well, it'll bring him down to earth a moment, but whether it's the ideal preparation for such a game like it is tonight, I see Sergio Aguero's on the bench, and so if there's any problems with Carlos, expect a quick change.
Carlos Tevez, the only man to win the Premier League title with Manchester United, and then Manchester City. United looking then for a 13th Premier League crown. Will Sir Alex strike again? It looks like it, doesn't it, this season, regardless of what happens here tonight. We'll talk to Sir Alex when we come back right after this break.